thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. And such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully?
Nous avons aussi.
Yeah, we have to go.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
But I appreciate it very much. I appreciate it.
Humiliated himself today with one of the presidents in Africa, talking about you have great English when English is their language, their national language.
Hello guys, call me Rick. I'm back again with another interesting video. You know, I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate your comment talking about how I'm doing great work on my YouTube channel. It's really encouraging, guys. So right now we are going to talk about the President Trump versus African president. You know, you guys, you know that like in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, African presidents have been invited to United States, like some 5 or 6 of them. So here we got a videos, some people talking about how the President Trump disrespect those presidents. So we are going to talk about that. Let's go.
We just want to thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. And such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? Where were you educated? Where?
Yes, sir.
In Liberia.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's very interesting. It's beautiful English.
Sure.
I have people at this table can't speak nearly as well.
Very
And
good,
they
sir.
Pas être long. Mais nous avons aussi.
can't. We have to go.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
But I appreciate it very much. I appreciate it. Maybe we're going to have to go a little bit quicker than this because we have a whole schedule. If I could just say, your name and your country would be great.
Then he said, in Liberia. Then he said, yes, sir. So the question of were you educated, I'm not sure it was intentional, maybe it was unintentional. But to your point, it was awkward because it shows you his stance already, like where he's coming from. He obviously sees Africans as inferior in many ways, but he also realizes that something's going on, right? If China's there, Russia's there, then we might need to be there somehow, some way. And even saying that I need to visit, which is something he hasn't done yet as a president, but previous administrations, presidents have, and the Secretary of States have often, and vice presidents have.
I just want to tell you, you have such great English. President Donald Trump humiliated himself today with one of the presidents in Africa, talking about you have great English when English is their language, their national language. Oh my goodness. I mean, literally. I wish you can make this kind of stuff up, but you don't need to with President Donald Trump because he gives you this kind of stuff every single day. Remind me again. How much longer? Over 3.5 years. Bye.
It's really crazy how President Trump doesn't have any idea about African president, even African countries. Like, you invite a president like you and you don't know anything about his country. That's why he's saying that, where do you learn this English? Because Liberia, their first language is English. Can you imagine? And he doesn't care. He didn't even you can, nowadays life is you can ask ChatGPT, you can even Google it, but he doesn't care. He said what he has to say because he feel like he's the president of the world.
Racism and ignorance will have you thinking that Africa is just a poor pile of dirt with no money or education to be found. Well, let's get some facts straight. Let's start with Liberia, the first African republic to declare independence, and Africa's first female president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who, mind you, was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize. They are top innovators. Nigeria has one of the fastest growing tech industries in the world. Their startup scene is booming so much that Kenya is called Silicon Savannah. And Rwanda is ranked one of the cleanest and safest countries in Africa. As for education, Africa is home to some of the oldest and most respected learning institutions. Take Timbuktu in Mali. Scholars gathered there before Harvard was even a thought. And their economies, you ask? They are growing fast. Ethiopia, Ghana, and Senegal have had some of the highest GDP growth rates in the world over the last decade. Africa is not a monolith. It has 54 countries, 1.4 billion people, and limitless brilliance. And last but not least, while they have 2,000 languages spoken in Africa, making it the most linguistically diverse continent in the world, and about 25 of those African countries have English as their national or official language, while they still have many other indigenous languages, some of those being French, Arabic, or Portuguese, depending on the country. So not only are they booming in technology, education, innovation, and their economy, but linguistically, they've got the US beat. That's for sure.
This is one of the American white who did research about Africa. I don't know if she been to Africa or she just did the research, but she know much more than President Trump. Even she know much more than any American politicians, because they must do any research before going to invite the president, so that you're familiar with someone. You're going to talk to someone, but you don't care. You will tell him any rubbish word because you feel like he's the one who needs me, I don't need him.
Of course, I've seen the video circulating around the internet where Donald Trump, with his tone-deaf, condescending comments as he's asked the Liberian president how come he speaks very well in English, which happens to be Liberia's official language. My problem is beyond that, is beyond what he said, how he said. My problem is how he ordered these bunch of Africans to his terms and conditions and come to the White House, round them up, belittle them, and straight up told them that they must fulfill his demands or else. And they were sitting there like a duck saying, yes sir. Bear in mind, these are countries that are poor on paper but are sitting on enormous amount of minerals and all high demand resources that the US and the West desperately need them. And you would think they would come correct and ask for collaboration. Try that again. And some of you have the audacity to come here and talk about the reason that Africa is poor is because of internal corruption. That is one factor, yes, but guess what? We must talk about the bigger factor is why Africa remains poor. And that is Western exploitation, broad day theft, and the same bullying tactics that we've seen Trump used against these African leaders in the White House. Thanks.
Donald Trump invited the leaders of 5 African countries to the White House, and these countries are Senegal, Gabon, Mauritania, Guinea-Bissau, and Liberia. And unfortunately, he completely humiliated them in front of the entire world. He started with the president of Mauritania, who was the first to speak, giving him signs to wrap it up, shaking his head and raising his hands, and then cut him off mid-speech and moved on to the next president. Then he looked into the president of Guinea-Bissau and told him, quote, just say your name and your country, and didn't even allow him to talk. So basically the president of Guinea-Bissau traveled all the way from West Africa just to be told by Trump to say his name and his country and nothing more. After the president of Liberia finished his speech, Trump awkwardly told him, quote, you speak English so well, where'd you learn it? What Trump didn't know is that Liberia was established in 1822 by freed African-American slaves, and their main language is English. Why would you invite these leaders if you wouldn't at least take some time to remember their names and their countries? But Trump is treating them like this because he doesn't really care about Africans or African countries. And just a few years ago, he called African nations and Haiti shithole countries. But what's shocking, some of these leaders said that Trump deserves the Nobel Prize. What an embarrassment.
Those are Americans who didn't like the way Trump treating African president. So, African president, you need to wake up. Work hard for your country. Work hard for your people. Don't depending on going to be, sit like When president say, you say, sir, like you are kid or you are working for someone, but you are leader of your country, he's a leader of his country. So you have to sit on table, talk like man to man. I was watching one of the video from Mauritius president. Even he was shaking because he doesn't have something to talk to.
So I present to you the president of small people, small population, small economy, small everything, the president of Mauritius. So this leader couldn't even speak in front of Donald Trump. He was shaking. Oh my goodness. Ha! Ibrahim Traoré, mon capitaine. Oh, you are the man. Oh yes. A man with integrity. Like, you couldn't even speak. You guys, let me know. Let me know what you think, because of
the U.S. population is approximately 347 million people, and Africa is more than 1.5 billion people. What they have and we lack is an economy that provides a decent minimum wage for the working class. The American economy is the largest in the world, and ours is the least. We've spent all our time looking for markets in other places and forgotten to create one for ourselves. And now, someone sitting in his country wants to determine who you play with or can play with and who you can't. I want to ask African leadership, where are our industries? Why are we in a hurry to ship all our raw minerals to these people? Why can't we be deliberate about building an economy that empowers the people to spend more and save more within the continent? Our industries are so small, and so our incomes are also very small. Many people who work for a month don't even earn $50 per month in Africa. Our pension funds are laughable. How then do we grow our economies? All our middle class people reside in Europe and America. That is where they make their money, and that is where they pay their taxes. President Trump is speaking like a typical bully. And if you have any knowledge of how to deal with bullies, you should know that bullies don't respond well to begging. They don't. The more you beg and plead, the more they take away your lunch. Going to Trump to dialogue like President Ramaphosa did will only end you up in even more embarrassment. Ladies and gentlemen, what you do to a bully is either you go get the training to face him in a fight, or you go look for a bigger bully to back you up. As it stands now, ladies and gentlemen, we have no training to stand up in this fight to America. We have no muscle and no technical skills to stand up to the US. And so what remains is, can our other bully friends back us up? Can Russia and China and Brazil take on our exports? Can they take up what we used to send to the US market? Or will we submit to the US and not associate with the BRICS? Or will we just take the 10% tariffs on our books? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the main options on the table. Let no one deceive you. Until Africa develops our own economies and builds a sizable middle class and raise our purchasing power, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue to be a bottom feeder country to the rest of the world. There is no way around this, and I'll be very honest with you. And my proposal to making this happen in the shortest possible time is when we involve the state in competing in every dimension of our economies. The state must be deliberate about production and manufacturing. African state must not depend on the private sector. That is what I'm trying to say. It must be led by the state, especially in mining, construction, agriculture, production, and distribution. There must be a deliberate attempt by the state to get involved and be profitable at all costs, or else, like I always say, Western private companies will come over and dominate industries even on our own soil. And they are already doing that, ladies and gentlemen. The choice is up to us and not what Trump or anyone wants to do for his country. So let's rather invest the time in thinking of how to get our state running the shows than wasting time on the arrogance of Trump.
Guy was explaining how Africa can be good in terms of creating industry where they can starting manufacturing something so that they can create a job and solve the problem of going out for buying scrubs, going to USA, going to India for treatment. They can create, because Africans has the skills. Because when you go to USA, you will see Nigerian doctors, Ghanaian, even people from other part of Africa. You will see, when you go to UK, you will see the same thing. When you go to Australia, it will be the same thing. So, why those people leave the country with their skills? It's because Africa doesn't have organization. What do we need from those guys, our leaders in Africa? Please, please, fight for your country, not go to USA, to Trump to beg for help or stuff like that. That's why he's disrespecting you. Even in front of the cameras, he knows everyone is going to watch you. Even it's really crazy to see African when the president say, "Where do you learn your English?" In Liberia, and you say, "Yes, sir." As if he's president, as if you are not president like him. He's the president of the country, his country, and you are president of your own country. Why you can't sit with him, talk like a man to man? So, guys, this is what we have for today. I think my video is going to be ended from here. Thank you guys for watching our video for today. See you on another video. Ciao.